It's another summer morning at Osborne Mountain Overlook, and there's a couple clouds building up. We're supposed to have thunderstorms this afternoon, which is pretty typical summer weather here for the Blue Ridge Mountains. We've got some milkweed coming up here in the meadows. I haven't seen any monarch caterpillars yet this year. Plenty of milkweed bugs though. They're busy making more bugs. And here it looks like we've got a firefly taking shelter inside the leaf. We're seeing a lot of the summer bloomers up now here in the meadows. Black-eyed Susans in bloom here. And these appear to be some type of Coreopsis. We're seeing the first goldenrod blooms here. And milkweed in bloom. Right next to the milkweed here, we have a plant that some people confuse with milkweed sometimes, because it has very similar leaves. That's dogbane. But you can see the flowers actually are quite different from the milkweed flowers on the plant next to it. Dogbane always attracts these shiny beetles. They're actually called dogbane beetles. Here we've got Queen Anne's lace in bloom. This looks to be hoary mountain mint. That is one of our most aromatic mint species here. And right there, we seem to have some flowering spurge mixed into this meadow. The dewberries are still in bloom here. The partridge berries are starting to make their new berries for the year. And you can see on these how they have two dots there where the styles were of the two flowers that fused together to make the berry. The yellow wood sorrel is still in bloom. Here we have another plant with tiny white flowers. I believe that might be Enchanter's nightshade starting to bloom. The fire pinks look like they're about done. They're making seed pods now. The spiderwort too seems to be done now. There's still a few flowers holding on. This is the only one of the Venus Pride or summer bluets that I'm still seeing. They seem to be done blooming. So these plants here are making fruits now. Based on the world leaves, it looks like we might have some Joe Pye weed budding here. And we now see the black cohosh in bloom here. These plants get tall. This one's towering well above my head here. and they attract a lot of pollinators. The world loosestrife is in bloom here. We've got some more over there. This one is following the name quadrifolia, which means 4 leaves. A lot of them that you see actually have 5 leaves. Like this plant over here. We're starting to see the fall bloomers coming up. So here we have what looks like some asters. And then the larger leaves back there, that looks like white snakeroot. Now here we have another plant budding that should be blooming soon. I believe that is wineberry. These buds are all covered in glandular hairs. And they seem to be sticky. I see some insects sticking in there. The white avens is still blooming and now also making fruits. Here we're seeing something bloom now that looks decidedly minty. Here's more of that. The wood nettles here are starting to make flower buds. So these develop in the leaf axils there. And they typically have male and female flowers. The blue cohosh is making fruits here. This is one of the lily patches. And yeah, unfortunately, a lot of these lilies are dying back from the fungus. There are a few with nice buds now, but unfortunately, just a few of them. Based on the arrangement of the buds here, I think that's definitely Turk's cap lily. We're starting to see some of the yellow composites there. And I believe that might be the Indian plantain blooming. This here may be another patch of these yellow composites. Now these are not blooming yet. They're still in bud. But these are closer to the trail, so maybe they'll clue us in later. The wild hydrangea is still blooming nicely here in this spot. So here we have another fern, and this one's also making sporangia now. So if we look at the underside of these leaves, these sporangia are linear. So I'll have to look that up and see what kind of fern that is. This looks like a monarda. It's in the mint family, so it's got the opposite leaves. It's not quite blooming yet, but it is getting ready. If you look at this, there's flower buds developing in there. Here's another one of these monardas. And you can start to see the flower bud. I'm not quite sure yet which species of monarda this is, but I'm guessing it's the white bergamot. I still can't find any flowers yet on the jewelweed, but we do have buds in places. Here we have a nice collection of those plants with the little white flowers that we saw earlier in the year. So this one seems to be that black snake root that has gone to seed. And we have the sweet Sicily seed pods. And then over here we have the hornwort, which is now done blooming and also developing seed pods. And here's another fern that I feel like I should be recognizing, but I'm not quite sure right now. Now this one here is also making spores. So if we look at these, they're more forming dots underneath the leaves. Once again, flowers down on the trail here clue you in to what's blooming above. And that would be the Rose Bay rhododendron. So we see these in bloom now. These are the white flowering rhododendrons that you see all along the parkway now. Here we have one of the knotweeds. Flower buds forming on the cutleaf coneflower now here. So here's another interesting trailside observation. This looks to be like sawdust on these leaves, except there is absolutely no evidence of any human activity like sawing in this area. But that dead tree right there has a couple of fresh holes in it. So I think that probably was the woodpeckers producing the dust on the leaves below the tree there. And yeah, they've been active on this one, making new holes into it.